Good morning, guys. So today I've got a very busy day, so I'm going to take you along with me, but let's just say if I show you what's going to happen. So I've got apples, I've got potatoes, and I've got pasta. So this can only mean one thing. It's a freezer baking day. It's just basically a cooking day. So come along with me and let's get cooking. So this morning I'm going to be doing a lot of baking, cooking, freezer meals, etc, etc, and hopefully, like I say, baking some cakes for the family for today. I'm also hopefully going to be doing some pancakes because the kids keep asking for pancakes in the morning and it's a bit of a faff to get it all done and then start school and everything else. So I just thought, you know, making the pancakes from scratch, because I don't do it from a mix. I just thought if I get ahead of the game and just make a load and stick them in my new chest freezer, which actually is quite empty. It's a big freezer and I've got hardly anything in it. So I just thought if I make up some pancakes and everything else, I can get started and start filling it up. Yeah. So if I've got to show you what I've done already, because it's really quite early this morning here. It's just gone 8 o'clock. The family is still asleep. I've managed to get up, washed and dressed. But, I just thought while they're quiet, I'll just start some cooking and things like that. Right, to start with, I have put this piece of ham in the crock pot. So what I've only really just put this in the last half an hour, 45 minutes ago. So basically it's just an unsmoked piece of gammon in there with some honey on. I haven't put too much honey in there because I don't want it to all burn. But a bit later on, because it's going to be in here for a good few hours, sorry. Excuse me. I will put some more honey in. So yeah, I've pre-soaked the ham to try and get any saltiness off that there may be, but it was unsmoked, so it shouldn't be too bad. And there's just honey in there, so I'm going to leave it for a good few hours to do its magic. So these are the last of the Bramley apples. They are a couple of them are beginning to spoil. Like that one's bruised and they're looking a bit old. So what I'm planning to do is cut them all up and just basically cook them, and then I'm going to freeze them, ready to do whatever I want with in the future. So fill my freezer up with those. The potatoes are for a couple of shepherd's pie, which I will share my recipe with you in this video. And I've got some more mince to do a cannelloni, and I've got, if I just show you, I've got let's bring them over. I've got these little trays here to fill up. I thought I had more than 3, but I've only got 3, and it turns out, don't know how, but I've only got 1 lid, which has seen better days. But never mind, I've got plenty of silver foil, which will help and be fine. So that's what the plan is, hopefully. Oh, hang on. If I just show you, I've got some small little tubs, which maybe if I've got some little bits of shepherd's pie or cannelloni or something left over, I can put in there. But yeah, that's the plan for today, to make some meals. And I was hoping that I might be able to get a macaroni cheese done as well and put in the freezer ready for another meal as well. But we're going to see how it goes, and I'm just going to crack on. So I'm going to crack on and I'm going to start peeling the potatoes, and I am going to get the mince out of the fridge because that's been defrosting overnight, and I am going to crack on and start making and baking and cooking. So I've been quite busy. I have chopped up all my apples, my Bramley apples, and cut them up, and they're sitting in water at the moment. I can't cook them at the moment because the big saucepan that I've got that I need to use has got the mince in that I've just cooked. What else have I been doing? So they're ready. I've got the mince here. I've cooked up 1.5 kilos of beef mince and strained off the fat, well, pretty much most of the fat. And I've got a saucepan here full of potatoes, which I have cooked, and they are ready to mash, which I will mash with salt and pepper and butter and milk, and that will go for the shepherd's pies. So with this mince, if I explain, it's going to go for shepherd's pie, cannelloni, and hopefully a lasagna. I'm hoping I'm going to get 4 meals out of this mince, maybe more if I'm lucky. What else have I been doing? I've chopped some onions, ready to go in the mince, which I am going to divide now. If I get this right. I'm going to divide it and pop it in there, because I'm going to make my shepherd's pies first, and I will share with you my recipe in a moment. Right, so with my mince, I've separated it, so I've halved it, halved it, and I've popped some onions in there, put it back on the heat here, And I put the salt and pepper in. I just need to add, I'm going to add some Worcester sauce. Okay, my husband and family like a lot of Worcester sauce, so we're just going to go a bit crazy. Just to mention, yes, this is beef. Oh, the camera's wobbling, isn't it? Well, I'm shaking. There you go. Might have got a bit crazy there. So if I just mention, yes, this is beef mince. Usually you'd make shepherd's pie, I guess, with lamb mince, but my mum always made it with beef mince. She showed me how she made shepherd's pie, and I just copy her. So maybe, strictly speaking, it's not technically a shepherd's pie because it's not made with lamb mince, but this is how I make it, and we call it shepherd's pie. And so yeah, this is my recipe. And I can guarantee you it's quite tasty. And so with that, I'm going to add some mixed herbs, just a little sprinkle of mixed herbs, sorry. See better then if I pull the camera back. So just a little bit of mixed herbs there. And to that, I'm also going to add, now, some garlic powder. You could use fresh garlic if you wanted. I'm not going to give you exact amounts because I'm really one of those cooks that just puts things in. You know, what I've got, I put it in. I chop and change my ingredients to suit what I've got in my fridge, so nothing goes to waste. And I don't measure an awful lot when I'm doing this because I've done this a zillion times, so I just chuck it in. But yeah, I guess that would have been about a teaspoon of garlic powder if you wanted to know. And I can't say how much the Worcester sauce is. I guess it's to taste. With salt and pepper. And then what else? Oh, and I've got some tomato puree here. So I would say with the tomato puree, you are going to probably be putting in, let's see, I'm going to say about a tablespoon. Maybe about a tablespoon. So I'm just going to finish this one off because this one's nearly finished. Yeah, about a tablespoon. So you're going to put that in. And then what I will be doing in a minute, I'll put some water in. And do you know what? I am just one of those cooks that is just a bit lazy sometimes to get things done. And I will be making up a gravy, whatever flavour gravy I've got in my fridge. Not in my fridge, in my cupboard. And I will be making that up. I mean, you could make it from stock and add corn flour or flour or whatever it is you want to do. But basically, I'm just adding a gravy to this. And I'm just going to let it simmer and let the flavours all infuse together. So really, my shepherd's pie is so simple when it comes to making the mince. It's as easy as that. But what I will do as well, once that's all ready, I'm going to put it in. I will show you in a moment, but I'll put it into the bottom of a tray, and I will have mashed my potatoes with the lovely butter and some milk and make them all nice and creamy and fluffy. And then I will put that on top. I'll show you in a minute. I'm just going to carry on cooking the mince. So my shepherd's pie mince is cooking up nicely with the onions and all those flavours that were in there. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little gravy. So like I said, I'm a bit of a lazy cook at times, and I've just made up an instant gravy. So if you want to make up a really nice gravy with a stock cube, or maybe you've got your own stock that you've got stored in your fridge or your freezer, then go ahead and do however you make your own gravy. But I'm just making it up. Look. So just basically gravy, because I'm being lazy today, and I just will leave that to sit there and just simmer for a little while, probably about 10 minutes to get all the flavours together. So like I said, I'll transfer that into a tray, obviously put the mince at the bottom once it's cooled down. I'll let the mince cool down for a little while first. Then I'll put the mince in the bottom of the tray, and I've mashed my potatoes, so I'll pop the mashed potatoes on top. And just before I cook it, the shepherd's pie, I will put some like little nobbles of butter all over the top so it'll melt and it'll get all nice and crispy in the oven. But that's basically, I'll show you when it's all made up and ready. So I've got it in my head what I wanted to make, but I just thought I'd show you exactly what my plan for today was. So I'm going to make a shepherd's pie. Well, I'm hoping to make two. Well, I know I'm going to make two because the family want one for tea tonight, so I want to freeze one as well. So the plan is also to make one cannelloni, one macaroni cheese, huge loads of pancakes to freeze for breakfasts, probably come out for desserts as well with fruits. Some cakes for the family for later on today, so they'll just get eaten as soon as they come out the oven. And Gabriel and my husband have gone out today, so I'll be making the cakes a bit later on because they like them virtually as soon as they come out the oven when they're warm. I had for tea last night, well, for my dinner, I had a vegetable and a lentil like curry type thing with some rice. Well, I've got some of the vegetables and lentils left over, so I'm going to turn it into a soup. Basically it's just adding some stock, water, whatever with it, and just making it a bit thinner and blitzing it up. So I'll be having that probably for lunch later, and then hopefully, I'm just wondering, maybe I'll freeze some of it if I've got quite a lot left over. The gammon's already in the slow cooker with honey. I've just added some more honey to that and it's coming along nicely, it's bubbling. I'm hoping I've got enough mince left over for a little lasagna, and of course I've chopped up all those apples and I'm waiting to cook them to pop into the freezer for when I want to make desserts and all sorts of lovely goodies and things with the apples. So here's the shepherd's pies. They've cooled down and I'm just putting the potato in there. Just put another one in there. And what else have I been doing? I have got the potatoes, I've got the apples on, and they are slowly cooking down, ready to put in the freezer when they've cooled down. But I'm just going to finish off doing the shepherd's pie and putting a little pattern on them, getting them all fancy. So I'm just making up the pancake mix. I've made a double batch of the pancake mix, so in there is 500 grams of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3 eggs. It did say 4, but I've only put 3 in. Milk, I was going to say about 450 to 500 ml, but I've eyeballed it, to be honest with you. What else is in there? Some salt. So there's 50 grams roughly of caster sugar in there, and I think that's about it. So the eggs, the milk, the salt, yeah, I think that's it. So that's what's in there. I've given it a good mix up, and I'm going to let it sit for a bit, and then I'm going to make them up ready to pop into the freezer. Okay, over in the oven I've got the apples that are still bubbling away. They're pretty much done because I like to keep them chunky because they're going to cook down some more anyway when you put them into like a crumble or a pie or something. And so I'm going to turn that off. If I do that now, then I know it's done. Turn that off and take it off the heat. So that's that one done. So what I've got here is the rest of the minced beef, and I'm just making it up to like a tomato-y pasta sauce. I don't know what you call it. Is it a ragu sauce? I'm not sure. Anyway, so in here is the rest of the minced beef, salt and pepper, quite a bit of mixed Italian herb seasoning, which has got parsley, basil, oregano and marjoram in it. I've got quite a bit of tomato puree in there, a whole can of chopped tomatoes, garlic powder, onion. So that's what's in there, and it's been simmering and reducing down for quite a while. I'm going to leave it to go on a bit more. I did pop some water in there as well to make it, because it was a bit dry. I'm just going to let it simmer down for a little bit longer and then cool down to make, and then make up my lasagna and my cannellonis. But I'm going to need to make a cheese sauce in a minute. So I actually need the apples to be done because I need the saucepan. I need a big saucepan. These are my 2 largest saucepans, so I don't have... I have to keep washing up and going and cleaning up as I'm going. But that's not a bad thing, is it? Who wants a great big load of washing up at the end of all that cooking in a day? Okay, me being so impatient, I couldn't wait to fill the cannelloni little tubes up until the meat had cooled right down. And look what's happened. Well, the cheese sauce is starting to cook. They've all sort of like popped open. So I'm not going to waste them. I'm just going to pour the cheese over top. But yeah, just let that be a lesson. Let the meat cool down before you put them in the cannelloni tubes. Otherwise, they all crack and go horrible. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to cook it up and it's not going to go to waste. So the cheese sauce is made, and I've covered the cannelloni up with the sauce, and I've put a little bit of cheddar on the top and some red Leicester cheese to use up those. And I've done the same with here. I've put some cheese. Well, I put the meat base for the lasagna at the bottom. Then I've put a layer of pasta, layer of cheese sauce, and then the last of the mince. I'm going to add some more pasta to that one. So where are we? Going to add some more pasta. And let's get it out of the box. And then I'm going to add another layer of cheese sauce, and then I'm the same, I'm going to add some cheese on the top. So there's that. I'm just going to add a layer of the cheese sauce on the top of that one. I need to save some of the cheese sauce because I'm making a little macaroni cheese for the guys. I might have to make up some more cheese sauce, but I'm absolutely pooped. It's lunchtime. I've been so busy, and I still haven't made up the, I've made the pancake mix, but it's sitting in the bowl, and I haven't made the pancakes up because I've been doing everything else. So I'm just going to spread that out and pop some more cheese on top. So here's the deal, guys. As fast as I can make pancakes for the family to put in the freezer, they're eating them. They're eating them as fast as I can make them, so I'd be lucky if any of these make it to the freezer. But nonetheless, they're having a nice snack as I'm cooking. Okay, so I've got the leftover lentil and vegetable like curry I had yesterday for dinner in there. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. And I'm just basically going to add some water to that to make it into a soup. I'm going to have that for some lunch, and if there's any left over, which there probably will be, I'm going to probably freeze it. So there's the gammon once it's cooked, and then I'm going to take it out and let it cool down, and I will slice it out very thinly for sandwiches, and I will put some in the freezer for like a carbonara or some other meal. Maybe go in a pie with some chicken, so chicken and a ham pie. And what else have we done? If I just finish off and show you what else we've made. Made 2 shepherd's pies, which one of them's going to get eaten for dinner tonight. I've got a lasagna that's cooling down, a cannelloni that's cooling down. I didn't have enough cheese sauce left over to make a great big family macaroni and cheese, so I made 3 individual ones. What else have I done? Some pancakes. There's only 2 bags of pancakes because the family were eating them, but they were going out of fashion, so there's 2 breakfasts there. And there's some bags of the apples that I stewed up for puddings. And finally there's the soup here just heating up ready for my lunch. Okay, so I pretty much got everything I wanted to bake done today and get in the freezer. I was just using up the odds of meat and things that are in the fridge. Yeah, so I've done everything apart from the cakes, which I'll probably make later on after dinner, after they've had their tea, and they can have them as a dessert instead of just like as a snack sort of thing this afternoon, which I had planned to do for them. But just going to make some little muffins up for the family. But that's it today. So if this video has been of some use to you, you can give it a thumbs up and a like, and maybe share it with everybody. Yeah, so most of this is going to go in the freezer now once it's all cooled down, and I've had quite a productive day, and I'm going to have a cup of tea now and have a rest. Okay, you take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.